Hey, what's going on? Trump correspondent John Ross Marcus Cox coming back at you with the Way Too Much JMC podcast. Today I'm going to come back at you and talk a little bit more as if we haven't talked about Oliver Anthony, his music, enough at this point. More good stuff just keeps coming from it, and reiterating the points that I try to make from show to show. And so today, instead of talking about an actual Oliver Anthony song itself, I'm going to be talking about how this song bridges the political divide, the racial divide, the cultural divide that we see in this country, and music is serving as a common language. We talk about how math is supposedly the common language that we'd be able to speak with aliens if they ever came here. When it comes to people on this planet, human beings being able to talk with one another from different cultures, music is a very good way to do that. And this song, Men North of Richmond, and specifically Oliver Anthony's music, is serving as a catalyst for that, to bring in people together to do remixes and all that stuff, but from the song, from all different walks of life. So today we're going to listen to a song. The guy's name is Dax, D-A-X. Dude has 5.55 million subscribers on YouTube. And this remix to Men North of Richmond was posted 12 days ago. It already has 2.7 million views on YouTube. And I'm going to let you listen to the song. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it a little bit after that. So I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the screen that I'm going to play it on. And you'll hear back from me here shortly.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true. But it is, oh it is, living in the new world with an whole soul. The rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
This world has changed and I had to accept it. They ask my political views while I search for their hidden agendas. I don't got an answer, I try to remember the devil divides. Pressure appears from our peers. Those arguments waste our time while helping to push their lies, so fuck political views. I got common sense. I know God made man, and the sun sets on a life where we focus on things that we cannot control and accumulate so much regret. By the time we decide to live, we're practically already dead. So I go to sleep with the thoughts of 45 years living in debt, 45 years can't pay rent, 45 years just for a pension I'm too old to enjoy and go spend, 45 years working and slaving for rich men with no time for my family and friends. Then I wake up and pray that it ends.
Living in the new world with an whole soul. The rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Descendants of Adam and Eve, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're taking God out the schools, our kids don't know what to believe. From 6 to 18, the curriculum fails and Gen Z gets taught by their phones with forced feeds that get sponsored and paid by companies. That's how they attack us, it starts with the youth. If you lie enough, you'll convince anybody the lie's the truth. So telling these kids they can choose their own gender at ages they can't even tie their own shoes. Drive or drink is crazy, common sense isn't common unless it pays me. That's the thought process daily, look at the content. We're creating lies, diluting our brains. I'm done trying to argue online with these people who think that a vote's gonna bring about change. How many presidents does it take to have a life worth living? An actual comfortable wage, no more school shootings. Let's unite these states.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, and people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true. But it is, oh it is, living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
So there you go. That's the song. And obviously, you can tell. Dude has a good pulse on what's going on in our country right now. No matter which side of the political aisle you're on, I mean, you really can't. Like, what he's saying could be almost skewed either direction. I can hear it coming from obviously you're hearing it come from the hood all the way to the holler, big city, small town. I'm gonna do another review on this song, or on a remix of this song later by a dude named Mercules. That if I don't look the opposite of Dax, that's obviously a black dude. It's all tatted up and everything. I think he's actually from Canada. It's originally from Canada or something. That's why he had a Canadian flag hanging in it. But if I don't look opposite from him, Mercules is gonna look opposite from him, and both of them look opposite from Oliver Anthony. So this song and the beat and the emotions and lyrics it's inspiring in others. You know, these people aren't just up there singing the same lyrics that Oliver Anthony was singing. They're coming up with their own, and they go along with it, with the music, and right along with the message from it. So this time we're going to listen to it again, and I'm going to talk about it as we go through it. I'm going to stop it a few times. All right, so bear with me here. I'm going to move us back over to the other screen and start this thing back over. All right, here we go. One more time.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. The rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
This world has changed and I had to accept it. They ask my political views while I search for their hidden agendas.
Now I know we all can relate with that. I was actually sitting in a meeting today at it's called the Louisville Forum. It's like a business group thing here in Louisville, Kentucky. And a school board member and one of our state legislators was doing a little, public school debate, and everybody kept coming up to me and asking me, like, if I was a reporter, who I was there with, yada yada. It was because I was so out of place. I mean, imagine how out of place my man Dax or my man Oliver Anthony or whatever, how out of place they would look at a business forum with everybody buttoned up in their suit and ties and all dapper danned out. And I felt like this. It was like people were basically asking me who you represent, like what are your political views, and all I could think was, I don't know your agenda, so I don't even feel comfortable telling you. Because if I just come out and tell you I'm Republican or conservative, you're going to shut me out. But for me, it's like I know that you don't disagree with what I believe. So let's just not start there with political views. Let's keep going a little more here.
I don't got an answer, I try to remember the devil divides. Pressure appears from our peers. Those arguments waste our time while helping to push their lies. So fuck political views, I got common sense.
It's another great line. We've all felt that. Again, I was just talking about this. I was feeling pressure from my peers in the room with me. And I knew, like, saying, hey, I'm a Republican, or hey, I'm conservative, or I believe this, or I believe that, is going to immediately get them to cut me off. Whereas I know if I could be able to start with the story, they wouldn't disagree with me. So I agree with Dak on this. Fuck political views. I got common sense. I don't need, like, what I'm saying, what Dax is saying, what Oliver Anthony's saying, it isn't political. It's just the reality of where the day and age we live in. Here we go.
I know God made man, and the sun sets on a life where we focus on things that we cannot control and accumulate.
How about that? The sun. First of all, he knows God made man. Blacks, Hispanics, working class whites, we all agree on that basic premise. And that's where all this has to start. If we're not starting from the basic premise that I know God made man, there's no reason to have even have any further conversation with anyone else, with that person. So he knows God made man. He also knows that the sun sets on a life where we focus on things we cannot control. So some people may think that I'm focused on things I can't control doing this podcast. But I'm not trying to convince Joe Biden or Mitt Romney or Donald Trump or Andy Beshear. I'm not trying to convince those people to agree with what I'm saying. I can't control them. I can't control my ability to have a conversation with them. I can control my ability to have a conversation with you. I have a chance of getting you to listen to what I'm saying, and vice versa. So that's where it's got to start, is right here between you and I.
So much regret. By the time we decide to live, we're practically already dead. So I go to sleep with the thoughts of 45 years living in debt. 45 years can't pay rent. 45 years just for a pension. I'm too old to enjoy and go spend. 45 years working and slaving for rich men with no time for my family and friends. Then I wake up and pray that it ends.
Ooh, everything. Listen, right there, he was packing the heat. That was like 5-6 lines, and he was packing some smoke, bringing some smoke with them lyrics. So we're talking about how we accumulate so much regret. We talked about Oliver Anthony's. We talked about his interview on Joe Rogan and how he talked about how he just was dealing with so much depression, so much regret, and so much just like inability to move forward that accumulates in us, especially as men. You know, that's why like that mid to late 30s, early 40s is such a crucial point in time, and when it seems like men can end up, committing suicide, is because you get this whole life of you start to really regret things. You start to really have to start trying to deal with the fact that you're on this, getting ready to walk into the second half of life, or maybe you already passed in already well into your second half of life. So by the time we decide to live, we're practically already dead. So I go to sleep the thoughts of 45 years living in debt, 45 years can't pay rent, 45 years just for a pension I'm too old to enjoy and go spend, 45 years working and slaving for rich men with no time for my family and friends. Then I wake up and pray it all ends. That's hold on a second. That's a very succinct description, I think, of how a huge number of men in this country feel. In particular, I know there's women that feel that way. I know there's elderly people that feel that way. But I think when I talk about where are the men at, I think one thing is that there are a lot of men that are in a place feeling like that. And when you feel like that, when you look up and you're like, oh shit, I'm 40. I can't even go to sleep because the thoughts are racing through my head. I got 40 years. I've basically been in debt my whole life. Still struggling to pay rent. I've been working 45 years for this pension. But now I'm 70. I can't even enjoy it because I'm so old and feeble and such bad health. And I spent that 45 years of my prime where I could do things. I could have went to the beach. I could have went swimming. I could have went to the park. I could have rode bikes with my kids. Could have read books to my kids. Could have tried to got my wife in the bedroom in between the sheets a couple more times. I spent all that time working for somebody that didn't give a shit about me. Didn't give a damn about me as an individual. That's how people feel. That's how black people feel. It's how redneck people feel. It's how the Hispanic people in this country feel. It's how pretty much everyone working class and below in America feels. Right there. In 6 lines. Even people that when you look on social media, you see on TikTok, you see all that bullshit, everybody looks all happy, they're all, they're locked arms, they're kissing all that. Make no mistake about it. Chances are, the dudes in those pictures Homeboy feels this way. Like his life has passed him by and it's over. And his kids are already double-digit ages. He can't get those years back. He was slaving away in a cubicle or on the line at Ford or whatever. Let's keep going here.
World with an whole soul. The rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Descendants of Adam and Eve, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're taking God out the schools. Our kids don't know what to believe. From 6 to 18, the curriculum fails and Gen Z gets taught by their phones with forced feeds that get sponsored and paid by companies. That's how they attack us, it starts with the youth. If you lie enough, you'll convince anybody the lie's the truth. So telling these kids they can choose their own gender at ages they can't even tie their own shoes. Drive or drink is crazy, common sense isn't common unless it pays me. That's the thought process daily, look at the content. We're creating lies, diluting our brains. I'm done trying to argue online with these people who think that a vote's gonna bring about change. How many presidents does it take to have a life worth living? An actual comfortable wage. No more school shootings. Let's unite these states.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to.
Yes, it is a damn shame what the world's gotten to. Now, let's unpack that last verse, stanza, whatever you want to call it there. Descendants of Adam and Eve, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. We're all sinners just like Adam and Eve were, right? But again, it goes back to that basic premise. If we're not talking to people, if we're not beginning the conversation with other people that at least agree that God made man and that all traces back to Adam and Eve, we need to get out of that conversation because we're wasting our damn breath. We're taking God out to schools. We all, listen, it was done a long time ago. Our kids don't know what to believe. From 6 to 18, the curriculum fails and Gen Z gets taught by their phones with forced feeds. They get sponsored and paid by companies. So from 6 to 18, in the most formidable years of all of our kids' lives, of our own damn lives, my life, we're taught in public schools. And we learn based on a curriculum that's developed by companies that are for profit, that don't give a damn about us, that have their own agendas, basically to turn us into consumers, into nice worker bees, nice, compliant, obedient worker bees. But now you got Gen Z getting taught by their phones with forced feeds. Their feeds are literally designed. The algorithm is designed to distract them and to give them maximum content to keep them doing whatever that company wants them doing. Not focused on learning, not focused on getting better, not focused on like being a better husband, father, brother, teammate, friend. None of that. Most people don't realize like the data mining stuff is so out of control. Imagine for you tree huggers out there, for you environmentalists, all the people that hate the coal mining industry and the oil and gas industry. Imagine if the oil company was able to sell the same oil over and over and over and over and over again to an unlimited amount of businesses and people to use, to then get you drunk and get you on and buying their own product, but you literally have zero expenses to get that oil out of the ground, and it's never going to run out ever. That's what Facebook is. Also, it's what YouTube is. It's what Twitter is. They're taking your data, your searching habits, and they're pre-packaging it and repackaging and selling it 1 million times over to different businesses to try to sell you shit. That's how they attack us. It starts with the youth. If you lie enough, you'll convince anybody the lie is the truth. It's obvious. There's no way that that's not taking place. So telling these kids they can choose their own gender at ages they can't even tie their own damn shoes, drive, or drink is crazy. It's absolutely, it is batshit crazy that we are thinking that kids, I got 4 kids, 3, 5, 7, and 9. The thought that any of them even have they don't even know what being a boy or girl is yet. They know my son knows he's got a dang-a-lang. My 2 sons do. But they don't know what it means. What the future ramifications are of what of fatherhood and manhood and brotherhood and camaraderie. My daughters have no idea about what they're going to need to be doing to be a mother. So they can't decide they don't want to do that, or that they weren't meant to do that biologically because they feel, oh, I know I got a dangling, but I feel like I'm a girl, so I am. That's the fact that we have adults letting kids decide that and thinking that it's okay is retarded. Yes, I said the R word. It is. Look at the content. We're creating lies, diluting our brains. Yes, we got to stop watching the stupid sitcom crap where they tell everybody that dads are dumbasses day in and day out. I used to love those things. King, Queens, everybody loves Raymond, all that stuff. But we look back now, and they were perpetuating a lie that dads and husbands were goobs. We're goobs and goofy ass people. Real men are tough sons of bitches. All right? I'm done trying to argue online with these people who think that a vote's going to bring about change. Yes. I'm not talking about votes anymore. I'm talking about culture from the ground up. From this studio up. From your living room up. I ain't talking about you getting to be lazy as hell and go pull a lever, vote, and then sit on your ass and watch football and drink beer. I'm not talking about that. Those times are over. The world will not get better if we keep doing those things. How many presidents does it take to have a life worth living, an actual comfortable wage, no more school shootings? I don't know how many presidents take. I don't know if we'll ever get rid of those things. But right now, we're literally headed in the wrong direction on accomplishing any goals and making society better in any of these scenarios. This last line says, "Let's unite these states." That's the rally cry right now. Yes, we gotta unite these states. We will not unite them through legislative action or through legislators or through a vote. We will unite these states by speaking the hell up, being men, being strong women and mothers, and saying enough of this bullshit. Enough is enough. I'm not worried about if you don't like me for me saying I'm conservative. I don't care if you don't like me for me saying that boys can't be girls. I don't care. That's how we unite these states. And Oliver Anthony has given us a framework. This message reverberates through and across all cultural lines, racial lines, ethnic lines, state lines, county lines. Enough people just have to be brave enough to say it out their own damn mouth. I know I'm going to do it. I know my wife is going to do it. And I know we're raising our kids up to be willing to do it. Are you going to be willing to do it? That's all I got for today. Appreciate you for watching. And Dax, great song, brother. Appreciate you. Have a good rest of your day.